So everyone probably has already heard about Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah Winfrey. Brandy is already shaking her head. So, so Meghan Markle suggested that she was asked by an unknown person um, that there was concern about how dark the baby will be. She would not go into details about the conversation. She didn't give supporting and conversations about what the content was, and she didn't say who did make that comment. But there is a lot of uproar that this is one of the most racial things that have happened, and it is a racist intent. So, Brandy, I'm going to let you begin with this one. Go for it.
Well, we talked a few weeks ago that there's racism, there's colorism, and there's prejudice. And I think what our nation has just decided to do is that anybody who has a question about our skin tone, if it's black and white, they're automatically racist. I did not hear the interview, but just thinking, me, you, and Bill had a conversation, and I had a baby with a Caucasian man. It's even common when my baby was almost Bill's complexion when she was born. I looked at her, the top of her ears. I was like, oh, you'll get a little darker. I was racist. I was just curious as to what her skin complexion would be. Her father is actually very darker skin, darker than I am. So not because I admit I'm the one that loved him. I love dark skin. I love light skin. I love all skin. I'm single if you're ready to mingle. So just next.
Wait, let me put up how to reach her since she is single. Here's her information once again. Facebook.com on the right track, W Brandy Hunt.
But even with puppies, let's just say a Labrador was with another breed. It's going to be a mixed breed, right? We're going to wonder what it's going to. I didn't listen to the interview. I don't know what was said before or after. Being a writer, I have to listen to the front sentence and the back sentence in order to draw a conclusion. Remember, we talked about Dr. Seuss and how in his day, what was going on to him was not racist. So when she said, well, wonder how dark the baby gonna be, was a normal, regular conversational question, and it was not racist in any form to me.
Brandy, I thought when we talked for about a minute or 30 seconds about this, that you and I were on a different frame of mind, but we're not. We're on the same frame of mind. I am, my mom is Caucasian. My dad is black. My husband he's black. He's just black. He's your skin tone. And both his parents are of your skin tone. Now, there was a lot of talk in our family. Is my baby going to come out white? Or is it going to come out, dark or light skin? There was talk about, wow, I hope it's light skin because it's going to have that good hair. It's a mixed baby. Like, there's conversation when you have mixed races having children. It is part of the normal thing. Listen, I was like, oh my goodness, well, what if this baby comes out pure white? There was like, what are we gonna do with that? Well, then what if it comes out really, really dark? And then what are we gonna do with that? And it's not a racist thing. It's just a curiosity. I would have loved the baby no matter what color it came out to be.
Right.
And like you, my first baby, oh my goodness, she came out white as white as Bill right there. And I looked at the nurse and she said, it's going to change. It's going to change color. Don't worry. It's not where it's supposed to be. The pigment comes in later. You don't even know that as a new mom. We both loved, and all our extended family loved that child while it was as white as Bill, and even now as it's my skin complexion. It's not a racist thing. Listen, first of all, and Bill, I want to throw this question to you. I didn't know Meghan Markle was black until she decided to date a prince. And then it became a race issue. I watched her on, I guess, Suits. I didn't know she was black. You didn't hear Meghan Markle being black. She never proclaimed that she was black once she was famous. For those of you who say that I'm being colorist right now, I understand because I got reamed over the coal by this conversation by someone this week. Because my issue is this. She was never a race person before. And now all of a sudden, She's a black woman married to a white man. Why is that even an issue? Why couldn't she just been Meghan Markle marrying a prince? Bill, I'm gonna throw that to you.
Well, yeah, I actually didn't know. I had no idea that she was. I didn't even pay attention to it. Here's the thing: when you think like me, I'll be honest with you, I don't care. I was in the army. There was every race from every state. They were my friends. I played sports all my life. There was every race. I don't care. I've never cared. So it's like, unless it's really evident and you talk about it, it's not something that comes to my mind. So I never thought of her as anything other than this princess or this girl that got to marry the redheaded prince. Because, by the way, most of my family's all redheads. So they all were like, we're Team Harry. And my kids are like, we like Harry. We like him better than William because he's got red hair. And my kids got red hair. And what you said about your kids, now my kids were all born redheaded and very light skinned, but I got 5 daughters, 5 in a row, all girls. That's what I got. I love every one of them. I wouldn't trade them for anybody. But when the 5th one came, we never found out if they were a boy or girl. Never did. Not one time. And on our 5th kid, Barbara's regular OBGYN was not available. So they had another doctor deliver our 5th child. We didn't know if it was going to be a boy or girl. And whenever she was born, this doctor, it was a female doctor, wonderful lady, and she says to me, "You have a beautiful daughter." And I said, "Again?" Just like that, again? And she looked at me like she wasn't going to let me go home with the baby. I was a terrible person. And so I said, "No, doctor." I said, I love her already. She's wonderful, but this is my 5th child in a row. We've never checked, and they're all girls. This is the 5th one. I said, "You're a doctor. You took higher math. What's the probability of that?" Which made her laugh.
Like that equation, because that comparison, it is so like not a big deal. You do want to know, like, is the child going to have red hair? Is it going to be a girl or a boy this time? Is what the skin color is going to be when you have mixed races? Those are things that people talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's being blown out of proportion. Now, whether or not Meghan Markle, now we can't, let me just say this. We cannot take away from Meghan Markle's experience. If she
No.
honestly felt intimidated or unwanted, or the child unwanted because of the comments, that is something we cannot take away from. That is
Right.
something that she needs to get help with.
If you listen to some of her statements, Melanie, she actually went so far as to say that she felt, like she didn't want to live.
Right.
And I'm a cop, and I deal with people who don't want to live all the time, and their lives completely fallen apart. And often it has. I mean, when you hear their story as they're talking to you about their suicidal tendencies, because I've been on many calls with suicidal people, and when you hear their life story, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I totally get it. I completely get it. Everything you've ever tried hasn't worked. You failed in everything. Your children won't talk to you. You've been divorced 3 times. 2 businesses are in bankruptcy, and and the prison and the IRS is going to throw you in jail, all in one life. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. But when the richest people in the world are talking about what victims they are, which happened the other day on the television episode, I go, there's got to be something deeper than this, because that doesn't make any sense.
I want to say something about that. And on the outside, it looks like that. But even if you're wealthy, born into royalty or whatever, you are still a human being with
Right.
feelings and emotions, and you experience life in a way that is only your way to experience it. And so here's Meghan Markle, for an example, famous, wealthy. She's got everything going for her here in America. She believes she's going to marry this prince, be a princess, go to the palace. It's going to be just another level up for her. And in our eyes, yeah, well, you got the Cinderella story. But in her eyes, she went from freedom to popularity to expressing herself to, okay, this is how you're going to live. And in her interpretation, it was like being put into a square box. So
Right.
yes, she should. We can say, oh, you should have been thankful for that. But
Well,
The way
and
that you're
Melanie,
interpreting it. So for someone like Meghan Markle or anybody else, like I don't think the color comment was it. It was just the needle in the haystack. I
Right.
think it was the whole transition of all of it. And then on top of that, she's having a baby. It should be joyous. And here's a comment about her race. The media and everybody's already been all over her about her race for years. It was just one more pile on top of her. So for her, it's like one more thing. I can't handle it anymore. But for us looking on, it's like, it's just a comment. What I think is wrong, and then I'm going to give it back to you, Bill. What I think is wrong is the media agreeing with her and saying, yeah, this is racist, and blowing it out of proportion and making them think. They could say, listen, it's right for Meghan. I'm sorry she felt that way based on everything she was living through. But this is a normal conversation for most biracial families.
Right.